Hey, I'm Dusti.
And I'm Lori. And yes, we're going there.
Tough Topics is where we talk honestly about mental health. No fluff, no fake positivity.
Just real conversations, helpful tips, and the occasional awkward overshare.
Because let's be honest, we've all got stuff.
And you don't have to go through it alone.
This is Tough Topics, real talk to help you feel a little better, one episode at a time. Hi, welcome back to Tough Topics. It's been a while. We are glad to be back with you guys. And today we are talking about what would it be? The need, the desire, the pull. Addiction to being busy all the time.
Yes. This topic, I feel like, has been on our radar for a while. Mm-hmm. And you and I didn't choose this topic for a while because we didn't want to work on it ourselves.
Isn't that
we were
the case?
Like avoiding it ourselves.
That happens a lot.
Yeah. And so we just got together for lunch before this and we're kind of prepping, and it's like, okay, how are we going to go about taking our own advice? And I think we're making some progress. Yeah. I know for me, like, I just decided this year, and my life circumstances are allowing this. I'm not negating anybody's real life, real busy life, but I just decided 2026 is going to be the year that I start to dial it down and slow down a little bit. And it's been different.
We're really selling
in a lot
this.
of ways. I'm seeing some benefits to it, but yeah.
I am, because what we talked about doing this, we kind of identified this as our plan back in December to do in January. Yeah. But shocker, life got crazy busy.
Yeah.
And then we pushed it down. We're in February, right? So I've been, I'm always like, we're just creating awareness, right?
Yes,
I've been saying that. I've been saying that to myself over the last 2 months, right? Like just like noticing where busyness shows up for me and where I'm resistant to not being busy, right? And then maybe at the same time complaining about being busy, which is really, really fun, right?
That's one thing I thought about too, the complaining about being busy. Mm-hmm. It's almost like we wear this stress, busyness, exhaustion, like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
And it can be kind of a competition, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been so busy. Oh, I know, me too. I've been so busy. Like you run into someone that you haven't seen for a while at the grocery store or something. Oh, I've been so busy. Geez, sorry, I should have shut that off. Been so busy. I'm too busy. People calling me while I'm trying to do a podcast. But we really take pride in venting about how busy we are.
Yeah.
And at what cost.
Yes.
And for what reason?
Yeah. Right. Is it necessary or is it something else internal that keeps us moving?
Yeah.
Moving towards busyness.
What do you think it is more of? Is it more internal?
I also think it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
I think us people in our age group were taught, that you're supposed to be doing, right? Like there's so I guess I think it's more internal. Yeah, I think it's more internal.
Yeah.
I think we're rewarded in society for being busy. Like think of
That's it. There is a word for that. Yeah.
There is, right? Even like you said, like just other people knowing that you're busy. Like there's a reward to it. But for me, it's driven internally. Mm-hmm. Especially at today's world. Okay, so like when I was a single mom with the kids at home, I felt like I had to be busy. Like it really wasn't a choice.
But that was survival.
That was survival. I was going to say that felt different, right? So now my busyness is not out of necessity to some degree. I mean, I have the business. At Full Circle, we're busy, but do I amplify that out of some part of me that feels like I'm supposed to be busy or that is tied to my worth? Or what if I'm not busy?
That's a big one. I think a lot of times it is tied to worth. And that's one thing I thought a lot about too is, I have something to prove. Well, who am I trying to prove it to? Mm-hmm. Is it that feeling of not good enough? Or is it that, and again, let us be clear. We're not saying be lazy, don't make life goals, right? We're talking about when something that is healthy and adaptive becomes maladaptive, essentially is what we're talking about. And how to recognize when that, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. One of my daughters that never calls me is calling me.
Okay, could we stop and
is there a way to pause this for a second?
Yes.
So, anyway, I think it is tied a lot to that self-worth for me. And I always feel too, again, I'm working on it. I'm doing better with rest, but I kind of go to this dysfunctional place of I have to earn it. I'm tired. I deserve to rest because I've done da 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 da.
Yeah.
And really, we don't have to earn rest. Our brains and our bodies need it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a basic human need.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's this overarching message. Again, probably our own critical voice saying, "Well, but you have to do these things before you're allowed to."
Yeah. Yeah. I had this exact conversation with a client the other day about how we tend to do that, right? Like that we tend to have like almost like a mental checklist that was like, okay,
yeah,
I did my things, well, I can rest. And not even just like I have a clear conscious kind of rest, just like okay, I deserve to have some downtime.
Yes.
Or how many times do we even say that? Like, oh, I had such a busy week, I'm going to take Saturday night just to veg. But why did we have to preface it with, oh, I've had such a busy week?
Right.
You know, like how is that connected?
And is your husband better at this? Like I get jealous of my husband because, I mean, he does stuff like he has a lot to do. He has a to-do list, but he can like go take a nap and then work on the to-do list where I'm like, how do you get your brain to shut off?
Yeah.
I have to do everything on the to-do list before
How is that possible?
I'm capable
Yeah.
of taking a nap or.
Yeah. So my husband will not take a nap, right? Like he definitely has he always has a to-do list. Like in fact, like if he doesn't have a to-do list, he'll like look around the house like this and like find something to do. However, though, I still envy that I think his brain is just quiet a lot. Like, so because then when he decides
quiet or empty.
Yeah. We wonder. But because like last night, right? I got home and I was trying to figure out what I was going to eat, and I went downstairs. I did my meditation. I did the sauna, blah blah blah, and it was 7:37 p.m. only, and he was laying in bed, ready for bed. He was watching the Olympics, and I'm like, "How can you be in bed? Like it's 7:37 p.m. right?" I'm like, "There's no way." So I envy that because once he's ready to shut off, he can shut. Maybe that's the thing. So he's a busy guy, but once he's ready to shut off, he shuts off.
Yes,
I can't.
Yes,
I cannot. And my eyeballs were awake at 5 a.m. this morning thinking about all the things I needed to do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's what's hard for me too. And you had gone, I want you to have the opportunity to talk about this a little bit, the meditation retreat that you went on. Mm-hmm. And you had shared with me when we were prepping for this that the first day was really awful for you. It was really, really hard for you to just be down, be disconnected from all the things.
Yeah. So anybody that I've talked to has already heard these stories because I've just been like, holy crap, right? But so my sister and I went to a Joe Dispenza intensive meditation retreat for 7 days back in January. And we had to do like a level 1 before we could even go, which should have been a little ding, 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 Dusty. This is going to be intense, right? But it wasn't.
Well, the word was intense in the title. But.
Right. Yeah. Intense, immersive, whatever. Yeah. And one of the things was, so there was like, talk in between there, like he would present like science and, research and stuff. But then we would meditate like 3 times a day for like an hour and a half to 2 hours at a time, which I'd never meditated that long in my life. I thought I was really good with my insight timer, like 15 minutes. I was like, whoo, did it? No, I didn't. So the whole thing is that like one of his premise is this, like we really need to get back to being in the present moment, right?
Yeah.
This sense of busyness that we create is like a falsehood of living either in the past or the future because we think it's giving us an idea of certainty, right? Mm-hmm. And the only thing that's not control, right, or safety, right, a knowing. But the only thing that's uncertain or that's really living is the present moment. Mm-hmm. So then we're in this meditation, right, that at this point, I don't even know what's going to happen, right? Like, I don't know. And it's not a silent meditation. It's him. He's like talking, right? And telling you like what you're supposed to be doing. And he says, if you find your thoughts drifting, just call them back. I called my freaking thoughts back probably 10,000 times. Mm-hmm. And at one point I even did the math. Like if I called it back every second, how many times would that be? That's how much it was. And it was really challenging for me to be with my thoughts, to notice how I wanted to be busy. I wanted to check my phone. I wanted to check my watch. Well, we had to have our phones off.
Yep.
Which I was certain would just be doomsday. I was just certain I was going to have
Yeah.
emergent voicemails that somebody couldn't get a hold of me. Spoiler alert, that did not happen.
Yeah.
No one needed
I
me.
had the same thing over the Christmas break. My phone was just being really wonky. So I just powered it down for a while and decided to leave it off. And at first it was very anxiety provoking because that's what I thought. I'm going to miss an emergency something.
Yeah.
And it was probably about an hour, and I powered it back up. And you want to know what happened? Nothing. The world kept spinning. Nothing happened. I missed nothing. In fact, it almost surprised me that I didn't have text messages and stuff waiting. And then I thought, okay, well, Lori, that makes sense because you're not texting anyone, so they're not texting you back. And you're not, right? Like you're not engaging in that two-way communication. And if a kid or someone had texted me and I didn't answer, well, then you don't just keep texting someone, right? Then it's
unless it's an emergency, which would have been my thought, right?
Which, like, I'm in jail. Mom, are you okay? Are you in jail?
Are you fine? Right now I am. But I don't know. I mean, to be fully honest, guys, like there was a part of me that felt a little disappointed that I wasn't more needed.
See, and I wonder,
And so then it made me think like what parts of me are creating this busyness out of that sense of importance or needing to feel important.
Yeah.
And not that I'm not important, but like maybe I'm not, how much am I putting myself in that I don't need to?
Right.
That things can keep running just fine, right? Where does that come from? How much could I let go? But then, as in the meditation, what happens when I do let go and I have quiet moments? My thoughts are do all over the place. But you've been practicing being a little bit more present, and you've had some good outcome.
Yes, but not. So what I've been trying to do is just be more like grounded in the present moment. And this is one thing that I always talk with clients about, right? Like your example of being a single mom or being a single parent working 2 jobs, or, you know, it's, I get that it sounds like it's a luxury that most people don't have, right? To be in the present moment. So let's take the example of a single mom working 2 jobs or something, right? She probably doesn't have an hour to meditate. She probably doesn't have a week that she can go to California on a retreat. Absolutely. That's 100% valid. But when you're driving from job number 1 to job number 2, can you turn the music or the stimulation off? Notice your hands on the steering wheel. Notice your foot pushing the gas pedal or the brake pedal, or when you're eating lunch. Like this is a whole concept in mindful eating, like naming what you're eating, really noticing the texture and the taste and the feel of the food. I have been trying to do more of that. And like I said, with intention, slowing down life, like slowing down work. And again, a lot of that is doable just because my life circumstances have made that possible. I'm not saying, you know, everyone can go to work from full-time to part-time. That everyone doesn't have that opportunity. But even in the little moments throughout the day, can you find moments to be present? I've been doing a little bit of meditating. My meditations, I'm lucky, honestly, if I can make it 3 or 4 minutes. And it's just sitting on my bedroom floor, just letting, I notice a thought, I just let it go. And what I'm noticing about that is everything feels a lot less chaotic, which then in turn makes me feel like I can be more present and less busy and have more time. It becomes this positive feedback loop instead of this negative feedback loop.
It makes total sense, right? Because like if we're in the negative feedback loop, right, we're operating at 99% of our threshold capability. It's going to take one little thing to throw us over, even if it's not like a big throw over, but it's being more irritable or getting frustrated when I can't find a parking spot. Like, and that energy feeds on itself. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's really just like taking that turn and being mindful of some of those things. Cause I bet most people have an example of when they had to be, or they had to be present. And usually we don't have a ton of regrets in that. So like my grandma was sick and in hospice, and we were taking turns being with her, and night was the worst. She was more confused and uncomfortable and disoriented and things. But she couldn't get up by herself. So she needed help. And so we had like little baby monitors. I would be in the guest room with the little baby monitor. And there was one night where she got up, I kid you not, like, every 5 minutes. Like, she would sit up on the edge of her bed. I'd run over and be like, Grandma, what are we doing? Right. And she'd be like, I need to sit, or I need to go to the bathroom, or whatever we did. And so we would do it. I'd get her back in bed. I would just get to the guest room. I would look at the baby monitor and she'd be sitting up again. And I was getting frustrated. But then I felt like a jerk for being frustrated, right? Mm-hmm. Because here's Grandma who's really suffering, who I love dearly, right? And there came a moment that I just went and I sat beside her on the bed. And I'm like, Grandma, what are we doing? What's going on? What do you need? Whatever. And she put her head on my shoulder. And I realized that what the hell was wrong with me? There was nowhere else that I couldn't be anywhere else.
Right.
There wasn't anywhere else I wanted to be, right? But because my threshold was already at frustrated, nothing good was going to come from that.
Right.
Right. I had to take that moment and be like, I'm choosing to be here. I want to be here. These are, probably final moments, but that switch wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
Yes, exactly.
So like if you have like a sick kid or something that comes up to when they have a fever all night long and you're like, oh my freaking goodness. But really, where else can you be?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly.
Say, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's in Brene Brown kind of talks about that too in the terms of addiction. Like we're busyaholics. We're all kind of outrunning our stuff, outrunning our trauma.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. And that's the hard part. Like when you were talking about being in the meditation retreat, you had shared with me that like you kind of got to really know yourself during that.
Yeah.
And that can be a little bit scary, you know, and we're outrunning those difficult emotions, or if you're in survival mode, if you're in that fight or flight, you don't have a lot of capacity left for emotions, particularly the difficult ones.
Sure.
And a lot of times, you were talking about that sense of safety or that sense of control. Well, yeah, then it does feel like, okay, I'm, I was sharing with you that my word is always fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. You're fine. And my therapist has even said, like, fine is not a feeling. Like, really, what are you feeling?
I do love that, though.
Yeah.
Fine is not a feeling.
Yeah.
True. Mm-hmm.
But, to speak to your point, when you were able to shift that thought process and just be present with your grandma, everything changed, and you'll never regret taking that time with her.
Right. Because usually you regret the moments when you are at your negative threshold.
Exactly.
Or that's kind of how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It makes me think of like when we've talked about parts work, right? Like how we've talked about like we have different parts inside of us. And again, we're just saying be curious about this, right? Like be curious. This isn't a judgment, right? We've all gotten to spots like this, but it makes me think about what parts are working inside of me that amp this up. Right. So I have like a busy manager part that's like, okay, I got to get all these things done. And I have like a part that's really tying worth to productivity. But then I also have a part that feels inferior. So like we were watching the Olympics the other night, and the 20-something, athletes, 20-something-year-old athletes are talking about how they work out like 10 hours a day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like here I am complaining about working out 1 hour 3 times a week. Right.
Yeah.
But I have this part that's like constantly in comparison mode.
Yeah.
Or criticism mode that says, well, you didn't do enough today. You should probably do more. So being aware too of what parts come into play there that are not like our most centered self part.
Right.
And how that impacts us.
And what responsibility are we giving like our external environments on that?
Yeah.
So I had read this really great book, and I meant to bring it with me, but I forgot it at my office. And it's called Stolen Focus by Johann, I think it's Hari, Hari. And this book is fascinating. First of all, he shares the brain research about how like when we're busy and when we're multitasking, we think that we're being productive, but our brain having to shift its focus and shift its energy is actually making us less productive. So if we think about that like a machine, like a car, right? You get the best gas mileage if you stay at a steady speed, right?
Yeah.
You use way more fuel if you're 40 to 75 to stoplight to right, you're burning more fuel. Same thing with our brains and bodies.
Yeah.
And he says that multitasking decreases your focus as much as smoking marijuana. So would
A
you
lot
drive your
less fun.
kids to practice high, right? Would you go to work high? Would you,
You're not supposed to.
you're not supposed to,
Don't do that.
disclaimer. But that's how much
But that's
it's
how it
impacting
impacts.
our brain.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And here's the kicker to that all. Big tech profits enormously
Well,
when we are not focused, when we are divided, when we are stressed, when we are, right? Think
Sure.
about it.
Sure.
It's for profit. It is for profit. When something breaking news happens, what are we all doing? We're all getting on our phones,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
We're all checking whatever news sources or, TikTok or whatever on our phones.
Mhm.
Well, then big tech is selling more advertising dollars, has more data to manipulate the algorithm, has more. And again, it becomes this cycle over and over and over. So that is one commitment that I've kind of made for myself going into 2026 is I really am very much limiting time on my phone. And I say on my phone, like who actually talks on the phone anymore? Not really,
Yeah.
but I'm saying that texting, social media, all those things, because there again, that becomes an addiction.
Yeah.
Like your brain wants it. It craves it. It goes for more. So anyway, yes. Are there things that we can all do to be more mindful, be in the present moment? Maybe dial down our schedule a little bit, sure. But also go into that with the awareness of what things in my environment am I letting have control over my time and my brain space.
Yeah. And maybe what comes up for me anyway is one step further then is me noticing my pull to get myself out of the present moment. Like why? Like being curious about that. So when I find myself, scrolling TikTok for an hour, I have to be able to stop and say why, right? Like what is it that I'm avoiding? Is it that I'm just avoiding getting up and starting my day and tackling stuff that I see as hard? Maybe, right? Maybe it's that I just am numbing myself and I don't want to deal with like my day-to-day stressors or my real life problems, whatever it might be. Maybe I'm feeling anxious about this big meeting that I have coming up in 2 hours. So I doom scroll for an hour instead of preparing, which then feeds me into feeling more anxious, right? Like just trying to be more aware of why am I doing it?
And he would say in the book that like if you're doom scrolling, instead of preparing for a meeting, you're replacing one behavior with another. Sure. So you're not prepared for the meeting. And also you're setting your brain chemistry into basically survival mode going into the meeting. So even if you weren't busy preparing for the meeting, you'd have a much more effective meeting if you were grounding and maybe meditating at that point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything other than doom scrolling, because then you're going to be in a heightened state going into the meeting.
Yeah.
This was just a
great book. Yeah.
It was a really good book, and it really does kind of call you out on your own stuff. And we all, we have our stuff with that. Yeah. So what do you want to, think about your normal week, like a normal week of Dusti. What areas can you fit pockets of slowing down, maybe being mindful? How are you going to work with that in real life?
Okay, so there was a time that over Lent, I gave up listening to the radio on the drive to and from work. So your example made me think of that.
Yeah.
And that was like my time just to listen to God or to be still or, whatever, right? Whatever. And I have found that is something, my drive time, I feel a lot with nonsense. Like, I text and drive. I watch videos and drive.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we don't have any police officers to watch this. I make phone calls. I make video phone calls. I will do meetings when I'm driving, right? Anything but just driving.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be something I should do.
I love that. That's a great idea.
I don't love it.
Mindful driving.
Okay, I know it's good, but man, I've gotten so hooked on that.
Right. It's an addiction now, right?
Addicted to it. Like I think my drive to and from work are going to feel like an eternity.
Yeah.
But I could do that.
Right.
I should do that.
Yep.
I will do that.
And that may be the same brain chemistry as driving while being high on marijuana.
What the
I
heck?
know.
I don't know. I've never driven high on marijuana, so I do not know.
I don't either. I cannot speak to that.
But I can't imagine. So what about you? Well, I know you've already started, but
well, again, I am in a place where I'm dialing down work hours a little bit, but I have done a fairly decent job of having my time in the morning. Like that is my coffee time. That is my time to connect with God, with myself, whatever. And that time for me has really become non-negotiable. Okay. I intentionally, I wake up early anyway. I'm kind of an early to bed, early to rise person. But that time, everyone knows you don't mess with my coffee time. I'll have my coffee. I just, my husband will laugh at me if he's home. He's like, you just sitting there like a nerd staring out the window again? I'm like, yes. Yeah. And I'm going to keep sitting there like a nerd staring out the window. This is my time. And I have found that kind of like sets me up on the right track. Yeah. Now, 3 hours into my normal day, that's all long forgotten, right? Sure. But I am committing to continuing that practice and holding that morning time to be really sacred.
Okay. Yeah. Because even if it's long gone after 3 hours of being at work, it's still a pattern that you're weaving in, you know, like those rivets that we kind of talk about. Yeah. Another thing that I figured out at the retreat with this whole multitasking thing is like when I'm doing paperwork, I always have I split my computer screen. So I always have like Netflix or something going at the same time. But I've gotten so bad that it's even hard for me to focus like on Zoom meetings without like checking my email or what. Like it's like my brain has become addicted to doing multiple things. And then how that's taken me so out of those present moments and meetings or whatever that I'm in. Right. Yeah. And then how that makes it harder for me to do things like meditating. Like it's like stacking. It right? is. So then as I become more aware of decreasing some of those behaviors, it helps me excel at other things that I find important, like, meditating or focusing on a project.
Or connecting with loved ones. Yeah. Right?
Sure.
Like you may be having a conversation with your daughter, but in the background, like your mind is spinning of all these 100%. Other things. Yeah. And that's, speaking to your point, that's another thing I meant too about also keep in mind how your environment contributes to that, right?
Yeah.
I have worked with way too many clients to count that tell me things like they have 4 computer monitors at work. 4. And they're ping, 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 ping. I'm like, why? We have to. Like, that's the requirement. I need to have this one for Microsoft Teams, this one for... I'm like, you are literally destroying your brain chemistry.
I know, but there's a part of me that's like, wow, 4. There really was, because I was just thinking like, man, how could I even get 2? But no, but really, like, what is
Dusti,
wrong? I know
I'm missing the point.
I've got the wrong message here.
Dusti's going to stop on the way home and buy another computer monitor.
I might need to. No, I won't. But I'm tempted because I feel like then I can get more done.
Get more done.
It's the opposite of what we're talking about.
It is. You're actually going to be less productive.
Dang it.
I know.
Well, I don't like how this podcast is going at all. So Lori's fired.
We're going to wrap it up. Conversation over. But that is a good point. It really is hard. And I was not joking in the introduction that this has been on our radar to talk about this topic for a while. And you and I have been avoiding it because we're like,
so much.
Oh, we're too busy to talk about slowing down and being too busy.
Yeah. Well, in that freaking retreat, okay, I highly recommend. 1,000 times I recommend Joe Dispenza's stuff. Love it, love it. I love the retreat in the most stretch, uncomfortable ways ever. Okay. But there was a moment where when we were on break, I texted Lori and I'm like, oh my gosh, like talk about not being able to be busy.
Yeah.
Like it took everything in me to adjust. And not even that I adjusted well. I mean, by the end of the week, I think I was better. Like I was much more present. I didn't have a choice. But it was such a struggle that it really opened my eyes to how addicted I've become and possibly why. And then not even just like the mental chatter, but also like I would be like, well, my belly hurts. I think I'm getting a headache.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not comfortable. It just is something that takes you out of the present moment. How many times do I do that when I'm with friends or when I'm with,
Absolutely.
Or even if
we all do.
If we're meeting for lunch and I'm checking my emails on my phone, how does that take you out of the present moment? It's all the things.
Yeah.
It's all the things.
Yeah. And you were talking about that when we met about the retreat too, that they kind of eliminate the barriers because you are away. Mm-hmm. You're out of your home setting. You said they provide the meals. So your brain can't even be running to like, oh, and what are we going to have? I need to stop at the store and get this and do that, right? Like they kind of remove some of that internal chatter for you. So I could see where that would be really like jumping off a cliff, right?
Or being pushed.
Yeah.
Either way, you're going down. But it is. And then you come back to like real life.
Yeah.
Right. And then it feels like we were talking. So I've been trying to meditate in the guest room, but I have my headphones on or whatever, but I hear the dog at the door and I wonder what time my husband's getting up for work. And then, well, what if I fall asleep during the meditation? Like all those things were removed when you're in the bubble of a retreat.
Exactly.
Right. So we get that this is not an easy practice. Like it's not like you have to be aware. We're creating awareness.
Yes. But don't you think too, it can become and one thing that he talks about in that book too is it's a skill that you can learn, or it's a brain chemistry that's all wound up that you can unwind.
Yes.
It just, because I know when we have talked about meditation, I'm like, I'm lucky if I can do 3 minutes and then I'm about to crawl out of my skin. Mm-hmm. But if I did it more often, more consistently, it would be like anything else. It would come easier with time.
It does. Right. And our brains are meant, when we've gotten them so much into like multi-functioning mode, they are designed then to distract us, right? So like if I'm meditating and I'm feeling super zen and all of a sudden an image of a bear biting my head off comes in, I'm like, oh my gosh, where'd that come from? My brain is trying to distract. It's like an untrained child or something.
Yeah, you use that analogy with me. I'm like, that is a great analogy.
Just like it jumps in there, right?
Yeah.
But we can keep practicing. Just like what we talk about in all the other episodes, right? Like we can rewire some of those parts of our brain into like healthier, little ruts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's our challenge for you. Think about one thing, and maybe it is just something as simple as what you have to do every day anyway, right? Like you have to drive. You have to drive your kid to practice. You have to drive to work or whatever, and just turning the stimulation off, radio, podcast, Netflix, whatever that is for you, turn it off and just mindfully drive. Notice your hands, notice your feet, notice what street you're driving on. Notice what comes up for you.
Yeah. Notice if you start feeling anxious. Why are you feeling anxious? Just notice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. Okay. I forgot to tell you a quick story.
Tell me.
I love your stories. That I like the stories. Okay. So when we were flying home from somewhere, I don't know if it was in December or January, I was on United Airlines, right? And so, they give you like the little TV screen that you can like watch something or whatever and give you the little earbuds, right? So they had podcasts on. Now, you're going to be shocked to find out that Tough Topics was not an option.
You're kidding.
Freaking United Airlines, what the hell?
You know what else? We didn't win the podcast of the year or whatever. It didn't
we didn't even give a call.
I know.
So
what is going on?
I was thinking that United Airlines could probably do like a little like shout out to an up and coming podcast. So I had to settle for watching one that wasn't us. And I watched the Amy Poehler one. Okay.
I think she's funny. That one that,
Did she? Well, it's funny.
Yeah.
But here's the key, guys. She's funny because all she does is she invites famous people on. So she had like Michelle Obama and Jennifer Lawrence. I don't know, like funny, famous people. So we just don't know any funny, famous people.
We are the funny, famous people.
Well, we're funny. I don't know how famous we are these days. But anyway, I was realizing, well, shoot. That's what we're missing.
We have talked about maybe having some guests and stuff, but
probably not Michelle Obama.
Probably.
I would love it, but if it could be. Anyway, so until then.
Yeah.
If you know any famous people, you can send them our way. But until then, please follow us. If reach out to us if you need anything. If you have any ideas or suggestions, you can find us on all the things. Yeah. All the things we shouldn't be multitasking with, right? Like Instagram and Facebook and all the jazz. So yeah, sounds good. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Before we go, don't forget to connect with us on social.
We're on Instagram and Facebook at Tough Topics. That's TUFFTOPIX.
Follow, like, share, all that good stuff, and let us know what topics you want us to cover next.
Because real talk doesn't stop here. It keeps going in the comments.